Hello Aries, and welcome to your December 2018 Astrology and Tarot forecast with me, Anushka. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who just want to skip straight to the tarot, I will put a timestamp at the bottom of this video, but I do suggest listening to the astrology as well. Okay everybody, congratulations! We made it! We made it to December 2018 after all of these retrogrades, and we're still in a retrograde as we start the month with Mercury, of course, retrograding until about the 6th, 7th of December. I'd like you guys to know that I will be releasing the yearlies as well over the next few weeks, so keep an eye out for those. Okay, so where shall we begin? So Jupiter has entered Sagittarius, and this happened last month, okay? So we should all be starting to feel the energy coming in now, you know, where Jupiter is happy. Jupiter now is we're going to be finding ourselves wanting to learn, wanting to expand. Our interest in higher education, our interest in broadening horizons is really going to be amped up. And for you, this is especially so because Jupiter is in that 9th house. He rules your 9th house, which he's a natural ruler of anyway, okay? So we had a Jupiter conjunct Sun, and this was at the end of November, so this was thought to be a very, very lucky time. So maybe something happened, maybe there was some opportunity that came up for you to perhaps move abroad or take up some higher studies, to learn a foreign language, in some way expand yourself. So this has got your energy and your focus in a way, looking at the bigger picture, looking at travel, looking at how I can grow and how I can go beyond the limits that I've previously been living within. When Jupiter was in Scorpio, it was quite a tough one for all of us because it highlighted that area of life that a lot of us don't necessarily want to look at, and expanded it. Now for you it was to do with shared resources, it was to do with the taboo, it was to do with psychology, it was to do with the things that really lie beneath. It may have given you some sort of psychological healing and insight, you know, because when Jupiter heads into Scorpio, essentially what he's doing is he's healing. It's almost like this period of rest, because he's in the 12th house. For you, he was in, not for you, sorry, but really he's existing in the 12th house of his. And so that's connected to Pisces. So there's this Piscean flavour to Jupiter being in Scorpio, which means it's to do with healing. It's to do with, in a sense, taking a break. And Jupiter isn't so active on the outer world, it's more in the inner world. So you may have had some deep healing crises that came to light, but you were able to bring a higher understanding and a higher consciousness to them, and maybe release and heal them. And now that's done, we're into this lighter period of Jupiter now in your 9th house, looking to expand you, looking to bless you when it comes to anything to do with foreign investments, foreign business, higher education, moving abroad, travel, philosophy, law. All of these things, publishing, are ruled by Jupiter. So all of these things can bring you blessings. Excuse me for looking over this way. This is where I have my whiteboard full of all of my notes. So okay, so we've also got Mars in Pisces in your 12th house. So whilst your kind of focus in a way, your attention might be on how can I expand, how can I grow, with Jupiter and the Sun just coming off of this conjunction in early December. You've also got your Mars in your 12th house, so this has got you energy going that little bit lower before he's ready to come into your 1st house at the beginning of January. So the energy kind of goes a little bit more within, and you're basically almost like soaking up and absorbing the energies of the previous year. What have you learned? What is there to review? What is there to karmically let go of and release? Pisces is a very karmic sign, okay, and he rules your 12th house naturally. So, you know, what is there to let go of? What is there to shed before you move into this new year, which I think is really lovely. It's working in harmony with Jupiter having come out of Scorpio, which was about healing and shedding and truth and bringing awareness to things that might be hidden. And then so with Mars following this up in your 12th house, what we're doing essentially is that we're getting the ego energy to release what it needs to release, and having some healing there. Also last month we had the North Node move into your 4th house of Cancer. So this moved from Leo where the emphasis on the soul growth, because basically the North Node shows us where collectively we are heading, okay, as humanity, what it is we need to integrate into our human experience in order to evolve and move forward in the most conscious spiritual way. So now she's moved into, the North Node has moved into Cancer, right? So this for you rules, nurturing home, the past. This is your innermost personal life. So you're going to start to see the importance of taking care of yourself, of giving yourself time out, of making that work-life balance correct. It's going to be less work and more nurturing. As they say, your wealth is in your health, you know. So this is really going to become an emphasis for all of us. But for you, of course, Cancer rules your 4th house naturally, so it's almost like a double whammy. Now, with the North Node in Cancer, this means the South Node has now moved into Capricorn, which is your 10th house. So the focus is, like I said, it's about finding that work-life balance. Doesn't mean that if you're ambitious and you want a career that suddenly you give it up to become a homebody. It's not about that. But it's about understanding that in order to serve in the world, in order to be of help in the world, in order to do anything out there for anybody, indeed, we have to first take care of ourselves. We have to nurture ourselves and come from a place of compassion for others as well as ourselves. So this is something that's going to be highlighted on the 8th, another 8, on the 8th of December. We find that Mercury, after coming out of his retrograde period, makes this lovely grand trine to your to your North Node in Cancer in your 4th house, and to Chiron in your 12th house. So whereas there might have been some things to review, or perhaps some trickiness involved in negotiations, shared resources, shared finances, those kinds of things, whilst Mercury was retrograde, now there might be some sort of, you might see a kind of blessing. It might be like, I understand now why that didn't go forward the way I wanted it to, because actually things have worked out better as a result. I mean, this Mercury retrograde that we're in until the 6th of December could see opportunities arise for you to reinvest in something property-wise with somebody else. It could be an opportunity to I don't know, go back over certain things relating to finances and joint ventures. But, like I said, 2 days after he comes out of his retrograde period, there is this lovely trine, and it's from your 8th, 12th and 4th house. So for me, this is a really personal, it's in fire, so there's an element of inspiration about it, but I feel like this is a healing, and this can be a healing on a mental level and an emotional level that's actually quite deep, and maybe an insight into perhaps what's been going on in terms of you know, any difficulties that you've had psychologically. I mean, I know quite a few people over the course of this Venus retrograde, and actually over the course of this year, especially when, you know, the past planets were retrograde, Mars included, who really suffered very depressive points. So it could be that you get this sense of healing if you've been through anything like that this year, and an understanding of why it had to play out, and maybe sensing a lightness that's coming with everything starting to move direct again. And in a sense, this somehow ties into your self-nurturing, you know, with that North Node being in Cancer, this ties into the idea of nurturing self. So there could be a real healing quality on the 8th. So I suggest, if you can, taking it easy and maybe tapping into some softer energies that perhaps have to do with creativity or have to do with healing. Even getting a massage can be quite, it can release so much from us toxicity wise, and although yes, it's physical, it all has an impact on our emotional or spiritual well-being. Okay, so Venus is direct now in your 8th house, okay, after her extensive retrograde period, which was interesting for us all. So hopefully now, I feel like the emphasis has been on things like psychology, things like shared resources, partnerships, joint ventures, maybe even esoteric things. Maybe you were trying to understand yourself in terms of intimacy and how you relate to others, how comfortable you are diving deep within yourself. Hopefully now there's been some resolution, there's been some healing, and there's a feeling of more completedness. So now Venus is moving direct through that 8th house. She can bring some blessings, perhaps as a result of these new understandings of yourself and these things that you've been through. So this could see blessings coming through your partner's money, blessings coming through joint resources, shared things in general. This could also see, for those of you who are in a more spiritual line of work, this could also see you gaining through your work, you know, through things, esoteric subjects, maybe getting a lot of appreciation, or maybe a lot of clientele who want to kind of really invest longer term in working with you. That's a possibility. Okay, on the 7th we have a new moon. Sorry, I'm skipping around with my dates a little bit. For those of you who've been following me for a while, I took about 4 or 5 months off doing monthly readings because of all this retrograde energy. There was a lot that I needed to sort out in my own life too. So this is my first time in a long time, it feels, getting back to it. So I think that's why I'm jumping around a bit, but I hope you're following me. So on the 7th we have a new moon. We have a new moon, and that's going to be in Sagittarius in your 9th house. Okay, so this is bringing fresh energy to that area of expansion, that area of travel, of education, of high learning. Now, the only thing with this new moon, there's a lot of mutual fire energy, which tells me that there's this desire, or maybe a seed that's planted, and you really want to grow it, you want to get it started. Perhaps it's a project to do with working with people abroad, or it's a project that just expands your business, or whatever it might be. So it tells me that there's this kind of, there's this inspirational quality to it. But at the same time, this new moon does square Neptune and Mars in your 12th house, which at the time will be conjunct one another, pretty much almost exact. So there can be this feeling of, I want to get started but I don't know how, I want to get started but I feel slightly blocked, I have this idea, I have this inspiration, but I'm not sure, you know, you may be feeling slightly defeated on some level. What I would say is just try, if you can, to not need to have all the answers straight away. If you have an idea, if you have a project, if you have a plan for how you want the next year to go, because this is that time of year when we all start to look at the year ahead, isn't it? So if you're thinking about, right, how you want the next year to go, what you want to see, and you know, you have an inspiration, and yet you can't quite see how it's all going to slot together, don't worry about it too much. What I would do is I'd tap into some of that Neptunian energy and just allow the idea to incubate, let inspiration come to you, okay? But definitely a good time to set your intentions as it relates to expansion, as it relates to growth, as it relates to travel, as it relates to your higher goals, because Sagittarius does rule that area of your life. On the same day, we also have Uranus in your 1st house, opposing Venus in your 8th house. Okay, also squaring the North Node. So this could be some surprise energy. It could be some surprise energy in terms of an investment that comes along, or, you know, maybe your partner gets a sudden windfall from their job, something like that. But at the same time, there could be this push-pull feeling of, like I said, feeling like I want to begin things, but I'm not sure how. But then, like I said, that opposition could work out. It could be either or. You know, Uranus is always surprise, and impacting your 8th house. It's to do with investments, it's to do with resources, it's to do with esoteric subjects, it's to do with what is hidden and what is beneath. So anything to do with that could be an area of surprise. It is squaring your North Node though. So what is squaring that North Node in your 4th house? So maybe there is some tension between something you've invested your time in, something you've invested your money in, your belief, your worth, your value in, and perhaps wondering, is this really the way forward? Is this really how I want to move forward? So some questions could arise around this new moon. I would just allow it to play out, allow that energy to play out. Then on the 22nd, we have, on the 22nd, we have a full moon, and that is in your 4th house, okay, of Cancer. So this full moon bringing to a head, bringing to kind of fruition things to do with home and family. And this is interesting because full moon in Cancer, this is where the eclipses are going to be happening on that nodal axis of Cancer and Capricorn. So next year we're going to have our eclipses happening along this axis. So this full moon in Cancer is almost like this preparation, I think, to kind of usher in the next year of these eclipses. So for you, this can see matters of home and family really coming into some sort of into focus for you on an emotional level. And it's actually quite a nice full moon. It's sextiling Uranus, so Uranus in your first house. So this could have you feeling, you know, like there's maybe there's some sort of innovative quality that you've brought to your home. Maybe there is some changes you've made to kind of try and make life better for all of you, and perhaps they're now paying off. You know, maybe you in some way you've used your genius to try and, you know, make home a happier, more comfortable, maybe even more progressive place in a way. But this is a really nice full moon that I'm quite keen on. The day after this full moon, we have a really, really lovely trine. We have Venus. Let me just skip ahead actually on my charts. I think this is why I'm confusing myself. So yeah, on the 23rd, we have a lovely grand trine, and that is between the moon and Venus and Neptune. And once again, this is your 4th, your 8th and your 12th house. So although we've got the Sun and Saturn up in your 10th house of Capricorn, you know, really a lot of the energy is quite personal for you this month, Aries. You know, before it becomes about you, it's quite personal. So this trine is, to me, speaking of healing, real beautiful, deep healing, compassion, love, the ability to move forward from any issues that perhaps have been going on that you've had to kind of contend with, maybe even over the course of this entire year. There's some really beautiful healing energy, especially as we close off this month. We end with some lovely trines, some lovely sextiles that are really soft and gentle. And I feel Boxing Day, for instance, on the 26th is going to be another harmonious day. On the 30th, we've got Mars in your 12th house again, Venus in your 8th, trining the North Node. Okay, so once again, this is lovely, warm, but yet with Mars in there, there's energy, there's this feeling of, okay, we've been through the mill, I've been through the mill, you know, a lot has happened this year. I've had to review, I've had to go over things, I've had to even take a look at myself in different ways again. What with Uranus dipping back into your sign, you know. So it's this feeling of we've been through a lot, we've done a lot, but now, okay, I'm feeling like the lessons are learned and we can move forward. We can move forward with this feeling of almost like feeling more sure of oneself. Do you know what I mean? Feeling like there's been healing that's been done on a very deep level. So that is it really that I want to point out about December. Of course, we finish off and then, you know, right off the gate, from January, we have Mars moving into your sign, which is going to fire up that energy. So all of this healing, gentle, harmonious energy has been taking place. I feel like it's almost like putting the pieces of you back together, allowing you to just recalibrate and allowing optimism to come back in again. And then we're going to shoot forward. In January, Mars in your sign, you're going to be feeling energetic. You're going to be feeling that will and that desire to get out there, to be known, to go after what it is you want. And with Jupiter in your 9th house, you know, there'll really be no stopping you. There's going to be a good few months, a couple of months at the beginning of next year where the planets are all going to be direct. Thank God, I hear you say. So I will talk more about that in the yearlies and of course in the monthlies as we come up to that. So, sorry, getting over a cold. That is your astrology overview for the month of December, Aries. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it was a bit jumpy, but thank you for bearing with me, getting back into all of this again. Now onto your tarot. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. Hello, Aries. Welcome to your tarot portion of your December 2018 reading. I hope this is finding you well, and I hope that whatever it was that had to be contended with in terms of your groups, your friendships, PR, networking, you know, your wider social circle. I hope those things got resolved, because Mars going retrograde in there probably caused a lot of difficulties and a lot of false starts, I feel, you know, and perhaps some snags and a bit of, you know, some conflicts. I know for me, certainly, with Mars transiting it was my 6th house when it was retrograde, and it was there for so long as well. Work and all of these things had to really come into review. Right, Aries, let's start your reading, shall we? What messages have we got for Aries for the month of December 2018? Okay, so Page of Swords flew out. So Page of Swords is coming out and saying, okay, I'm starting this month with a sense of more mental clarity. And I see this as we've cut away a lot of the crap, in a way. We've cut away a lot of the bullshit, the stuff, the noise that quite often blocks us from being able to see clearly, to think clearly. And perhaps that's what you've been doing. And this is interesting, because with that 8th house activation and the 12th house activation that you've got at the moment, it's almost like releasing karma, cutting away dead weight, things that no longer serve you, things that you no longer need to think, you no longer need to hold. So the Page of Swords, I see this as, okay, this is a fresh beginning, a bit of mental clarity, perhaps a new idea, business opportunity has come in, something that you want to incubate, something that you want to grow, that you want to invest in. Okay, this can also show up as a person, usually a young person who is be an air sign. So you're looking at Libra, you're looking at Libra, who else? Gemini and Aquarius. Jesus, I forgot my forgot my astrology signs then. Okay, next, this one going to come out. So we've got the 9 of Wands here. This I feel is very fitting. I feel like in some ways you have really been through the mill, okay? And you've had to, I feel like it's taken this to get to here. So this is saying to me, you know, you've had to fight a few battles this year. You've had to question yourself, question your motives, where you're going. You know, is my course correct? And other people have confronted you. I feel like other people have questioned your motives, questioned your direction. I feel like and sometimes that's a really positive thing. So although it can sometimes feel hostile, it means that when people challenge us and we can honestly look at ourselves, instead of being defensive, but we honestly look at ourselves and say, okay, well, are they right? Is this true? Is this the right course of action for me? Are my motives, you know, pure? You know, what are my motives? And if we still then come out of it saying, yes, this is the direction I want to go in, then we know that we've reviewed and we're even more sure, we're even more steady-footed. So here I feel like this to me speaks of this Mars energy, this Mars energy that's been retrograde. I feel like you kind of, it's like, oh, I have been through it. I have been through it. I have had to negotiate. I have had to jostle for position. I have had to re-examine. I have had to rework. I've had to a lot of things, okay? Anything beginning with Ari, you've had to do a lot of. And it's been in terms of goals, dreams, wishes, larger life plans. It's been in terms of your, like I said, the groups you belong to, the associations you have, collaborating with people, being able to move forward on projects, networking, those kinds of things, you know, related to business, I feel, more than anything. But it could also be quite personal too. But it's got you kind of, you're feeling like, okay, I've made it, I got there, but now I just need some rest, you know, and that kind of makes sense, you know, with Mars being in your 12th house now, so it's almost like a time for just, okay, let me just chill in December and, you know, not lick my wounds, but just, I like the way he's just looking, he's looking over his shoulder and going, whew, I'm glad that's done. Do you know what I mean? That's the feeling I get. That's the feeling I get, Aries. Okay, so that's just for Aries. Month of December 2018. Okay, Aries. Just going to do one last shuffle before we continue. Ooh, that didn't work out very well. Oh well. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. Right. So, typically this is a Taurus, a Virgo or Capricorn person showing up in your reading. Now, it could be that this is somebody who you feel you've had to contend with, but I'm not getting that. I'm getting more that actually this is an aspect of you, Aries, because with the Sun in your 10th house during this time, and your 10th house being ruled by Capricorn, Capricorn being an earth sign. You see where I'm going with that. Saturn's in your 10th house as well. So there's 10th house emphasis in your chart at the moment. 10th house for you is ruled by an earth sign. So this is saying to me that Aries is coming into a position of more money, into a position of handling their money better and making money perhaps through creative endeavors, possibly, but things that are lucrative. I see not, I don't want to call it a new beginning in money, but I want to call it like, it's like you're stepping into your own in terms of your investments. Perhaps for some of you, you've actually separated from somebody, or maybe you were going through a huge, divorce or separation. It could be a separation from a business partner. And this is kind of what this sudden clarity and new start is about. And you're feeling like, oh, thank God that's over. And now my money is my own, my possessions are my own. Clarity has been brought about. And then for those of you who it's not that case, I feel like this is like I want to say like a natural evolution in terms of your financial status. Okay, I feel like you've had to do a lot of dealings with people. You've had to move things around. You've had to maybe shift money around, invest differently, change business plans, maybe change career, change jobs, look at your investments. And now it's like, okay, now I feel like, or you will, if you haven't already, I feel like over the coming months, I don't think this is just for December, I think as we go into the year ahead, you're going to start feeling like, okay, I have a handle on my money and I am watching it grow and I've invested it wisely now that now that I'm past this period of having to negotiate and almost like battle and deal with a lot of difficult things. And this is so interesting, so this one just popped out for you, okay? This is actually one of my favorite cards, and I know that might sound weird, but it actually is. So the Ten of Swords, okay? Ten of Swords I love because the Ten of Swords speaks to me about endings. It's an ending, and it's kind of like, how can I put it? It's an ending that you allow it to kill parts of your life, parts of yourself that no longer need to be there. You allow it to kill off relationships that no longer need to be there. And you see this black, I almost see this as being the stuff that is unnecessary. The stuff you don't need, okay? And you see this black cloud is starting to lift and the sun is emerging. And although you may feel like you are dead, okay, your ego has died. You've had a total ego annihilation, perhaps, as a result of going through the difficulties that you have of this past year. There's a new horizon coming. And in a way, this card actually speaks to me of relief. I mean, I think some of you have been involved in legal battles, in legal disputes. And if not, I see business and work being an area of contention. How to get ahead, who to align with. Maybe some people have betrayed you, maybe things have gone a bit wonky here and there. But like I said, there's a relief that comes with this because, firstly, because 10 is the number of completion. So when we hit a 10, it means that that chapter is over and we start naturally again from 1 or from 0, the Fool, okay? So we're about to start a new beginning. So this is a lovely card, for me, in my personal opinion, to get at the end of the year. Plus, it's upright, so you're not resisting this, okay? You're allowing it to happen. So I really like this. And there's this kind of release when we surrender, when we let go, when we suddenly give up and we go, it's like when you're in a crap relationship and you know it's crap. We've all done this, okay? You're in a rubbish relationship, you know it's rubbish, but yet you hang on, you stay in there because it's comfortable, or you're scared to go out on your own again. You don't believe you have what it takes. We've all done it. Maybe you don't want to hurt the person. And it's excruciating. It's excruciating to stick around. But then you do the hard thing. And you leave, and yes, it's beaten you. You see the swords there? It's beaten you. It killed you. It killed that dream off, that relationship, whatever, that business partnership, whatever it was. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. But you know what it also means? It also means the struggle is over. It also means that there's a new chapter opening, and that it means you can breathe a sigh of relief. So there's a beauty in surrender. There's beauty in allowing your ego, what your ego thinks it wants, to be killed off. Because, I look at swords and quite often they speak to me of the ego and what the mind thinks it wants. Quite often what the mind wants and thinks is right for us is simply a method to protect us and to keep us within our comfort zones. But staying in our comfort zones is not the way to evolution. So although the mind thinks it's doing the right thing, you know, it can trap us in situations. So an ego death is sometimes required. So this is the ending of something, and I love this. So you know, I'm marrying these two up like this, and I'm saying, yes, look, 9, 10, okay, and then fresh beginnings and fresh ideas as a result of cutting. I feel like you've cut a cord with somebody or something. So far I'm really liking this energy. Oh, we got another one. Queen of Swords just came out. Okay, we're active, aren't we? So Queen of Swords. Okay, so for some of you, this could be the person that you were dealing with, an air sign. So Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, or somebody with a lot of air dominant in their chart. Or perhaps somebody who just shows up as being sharp-tongued, very rational, very logical, perhaps a bit cold, extremely intelligent. Okay, now the Queen of Swords I see as being a little bit more harsh than the King of Swords in some ways. I feel like this is someone who's cutting with their tongue, cutting with their words. Now, this could be the person who you have, in a sense, separated from, or the energy that you've separated from, the energy you've been having to contend with. At the same time, I also see, because we've got two queens here, I'm seeing that feminine energy could be important to you in the month of December. Older feminine energy, wise feminine energy could be important to you. But with this Queen of Swords, I think I'm getting a slightly different feel. I feel like someone has said to you, or you have said to somebody, okay, it's done, over, you know, off with you. Or if not to somebody, to something in your life. Because you see how the hand is just open, and it's kind of like, go, do what you will, type thing. This is, it speaks to me of that, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here. So give me one moment while I just have a little look. I think there's been battle. I think there's been conflict. I think there's been conflict of legalities, words, ideas, those kinds of things. And perhaps this person represents a person or the establishment that was on the other side of that. Maybe we can get some clarity into who or what this is. Ay, ay, ay. The cards just want to jump. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. So I think this pertains to, there was, in some situation, on some level, I feel like you had somebody or something in your life that was, in a sense, blocking you from being able to maybe, I feel like you were financially trapped somehow. Financially trapped, or maybe trapped in a job, trapped in a business, feeling stuck. Now, it may not be that somebody was trapping you, or necessarily that they were the cause of it, but it may be that your own mental, like the way you were looking at the world, your perspective, was actually what was holding you back, okay? So that's kind of what it's saying to me, because I'm getting the sense that you've had to get past this in order to get to these two here, okay? So I feel like there was some sort of a mental block, and perhaps that is what you said goodbye to, you know, like a mental block. Maybe, you know, when we say enough times to ourselves that we're not worthy or that we can't do something, well, we see that reflected back to us in the universe. So maybe you've had to cut through deep emotional and psychological issues to do with abundance, to do with self-worth and value and how you think, you know, because how we think and what we say to ourselves often will give us clues and indications as to how much we value ourselves. And we can't make a lot of money, we can't be abundant if we don't feel like we're of value and we're of worth. And perhaps now you've come to some clarity, right? And you're saying, okay, off and away with this old way of thinking and being. Or perhaps it is somebody who was giving you problems in terms of finances and such. This one, no, I'm happy with that, that's fine. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. So what else? So let's have a look at, let's see if there's anything to do with, oh, okay, hello you. And, oh. Is it my shuffle? King of Wands, okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, and the Chariot, King of Wands and the Chariot. Okie dokie. A lot of court cards in your reading here, Aries. So this is telling me, which makes sense, people have, there's a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people in your life, or there has been a lot of people. Now the nice thing is they're all showing up upright during the month of December, so I think you can go to perhaps investors, you can go to trusted maybe family members to seek their counsel in terms of how you want to move forward. The Chariot here in reverse, oh look what's happened to my Chariot card, it's got something on it. Anyway, the Chariot here in reverse, I feel like is that's Neptune block. Do you remember I said to you in the astrology, Neptune and Mars will be conjunct in your 12th house at one point, and I think they're going to be squaring off with the new moon. I think that's what I said. And actually this card is ruled by Cancer. So this speaks to me of that energy, that new moon energy, where there is that square between Neptune and Mars. So this can be that feeling of like, I want to move forward, but I feel a bit disillusioned. I want to move forward, but I feel a bit stuck, or I feel a bit unsure as where to go. So what I would do in this situation is I would seek wise counsel, because I think there are people here who can give you some wisdom, who can perhaps point you in the right direction. You are going to be coming into your own. I mean, at the end of the day, this is you, okay? This is Wands, so this is your energy. You're going to be coming into your own, very much so. And I feel like this is, and look at the way that he's looking, he's kind of looking ahead, isn't he, right? And I feel like he's looking, the way I see it is he's looking to Mars coming into your first house. He's looking ahead to Mars coming into your first house and saying, yes, okay, that is, you know, I'm looking at what's to come. I can see that my ships will be coming in. I can see that my energy and my life is about to burst forth, but he's patient with it. Okay, so what I would say to you is be, you know, make your plans. You give yourself time to recover and recoup from this year, especially those of you who have been through a big battle or have had a lot of difficulties in terms of business, intimate relationships, divorce, whatever it might be. Give yourself time to heal and recoup from that. Make your plans, because you will be coming to this. And be wise and be patient. Plan, and don't be disillusioned if you feel, okay, it's not coming in straight away. It's not going to come in straight away. Wait until January. Wait until January next year. We're going to have a few months where all the plans will be direct, and you can move forward with your plans, and you can really make a lot of leaps and bounds and strides. Okay, King of Wands as well, you know, is also making you think of that Jupiterian energy, Sagittarian Jupiter. So how far do you want to go with your abundance? Ooh, what are you doing? I've got 1 weak leg on my tripod, so he's a bit wonky. So how far do you want to go with your abundance? You know, how far do you want to go with your business plans, with your inspiration, with your innovation? How far can you reach? You can be the king and queen of your own kingdom, of your own, you know, whatever it is, your own dominion. Think about it. This is the time to be putting in plans and really, really, really shooting ahead once once we get into next year. Aye, these cards are just jumping. I swear to God, I haven't even managed to pick one out. They are just literally jumping. Oh, jeez. Okay, great. So we've got another 10, the 10 of Cups. I'm just going to pull a few more and then we'll close up. Right. And we'll see how you end off the year as well, actually. So the 10 of Cups, I love this. So we've got court cards, we've got 9s and 10s. So we've got a lot of completion going on, which is healthy, which is really good. And it's what I want to see at this time of the year for you. You know, this is speaking to me of that, lovely, harmonious. We're going to, towards the end of the month, we're going to have a lot of trines happening between Mars, Venus, the North Node. There's going to be a lot of Neptune. There's going to be some lovely trines happening. So this is you, Aries, at home with your loved ones, feeling like, you know, just loved and supported and pleased with how the year has finished up. Yes, you've been through the mill. Yes, you've had to tackle some things. You've had to stand your ground and defend yourself in some things, and things haven't moved forward as quickly as you wanted. You haven't been able to progress as quickly as you wanted. You are, with Uranus in your sign, having to wrap. There's something else. Yeah, let me just point this out. There's something you need to wrap up. Aries. Uranus is in your sign. He's backed into your sign retrograde, yeah? Before he goes back into Taurus for good. Now, this is telling me there's something you need to sort out. There's something that lies beneath, and I feel that it relates to how you see yourself and how that affects how far you can go in this life. I feel like there's some enlightenment and there's some shake-up that Uranus is going to bring in to say to you, hang on a minute, you know, you're only as limited as you think you are. So, you know, it's almost like he's going to shake you out of it, out of this kind of maybe slightly not seeing just the totality of your incredibleness, if you like. But going back to this, so this is, yes, we've been through the mill, things have been tough, but I have more mental clarity, okay? I have people on my side. I may have had some difficult people to deal with, you know, but I have got people on my side. And actually, yes, I think this is definitely the 11th house, isn't it? Because your 11th house is an air house. I've had some difficult people to deal with. I've had some conflict. I've had some push and pull and push back, but I am ending this feeling satisfied. It's been worth it, and I have my family, I have my loved ones, and the holidays are going to be joyous. They're going to be full of love, and I feel a sense of completion. And it's almost like you're going to look at the end of this year, you're going to look back on the entire year, and you're going to go, it couldn't have gone any other way. That was the only logical way it could have gone, and thank God it did, because now it's almost like you might not be able to see the changes instantly, but it's like you can feel, okay, it had to happen that way. And I'm glad it did, you know, so there's an appreciation for that. Okay, right, I've been going on for quite some time now. What are we on? Gosh, 20 minutes already. Okay, Aries, I'm going to wrap up, okay? I am going to wrap up because I think that's a nice place to end it. You know, so many completions. You've done well. You've done well to get to where you've been and to get through this year. The cycle is finished. It's done, okay? Jupiter has done his cycle. I feel this speaks a lot about Jupiter in Scorpio as well, getting to the truth. And sometimes the truth will set you free, but it will kill you fast, you know? And I feel like that's what's maybe happened for some of you. But you have fresh insights, okay? New ideas. And don't worry, the movement forward will happen soon. I feel like the money is going to start building and getting better, and you're going to see that, you know, you have control and control over how you invest. I feel like the movement will start to go forward once we get to next year, and you know, you're standing in your prime and in your element, and there you are, happy and contented. Lovely. Thank you so much for watching, Aries, and I will be with you again next month. And watch out for my yearlies, where I will be including tarot, astrology, and numerology. And it's going to be a real fun fest because I'm going to mix them all in together. I'm not even going to do it you know, bit by bit, as in astrology and then tarot. I'm going to just mix it all in, so it's going to be one hot mess. So hopefully I'll see you then. Okay, much love, guys. Bye.